What's going on, people? So this past weekend, Saturday, the Rocky Run kicked off with the 5K, right? And I was up there, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm all out of my way to go and do this thing. You know what I'm saying? So this is going to be the time when I get into those 19s, finally break this 20 barrier, right? So I'm up there, I'm at the start line, and I'm ready. And so they're like, all right, go. And I get going, hit play and stuff. But then like it starts playing like the Sugar Cult stuff that I was listening to earlier, and I'm like, what are you doing? And then I mess around with that, getting it on the album that I actually want, because you gotta have the right soundtrack for the day. You know what I'm saying? But then there's also this woman in front of me, and she's just tripping over her own feet. I'm like, you need to get it together or get out of the way because this is not working for me, right? It's obviously not working for you either. So do something about that. But that whole thing gets worked out. Then I'm like moving around and trying to go off and get into the zone, get all paced out and stuff. And I hear like the little lady in my Garmin here, she's all like, first mile like 6:0 something, and I'm like, I mean that's cool and all, right? 6 minute mile, sure, but I got like two more of these things. Let's maybe not go making a fool of yourself out here right now. So yeah, that first 6 minutes was a freaking mess, dude. But then eventually everything gets all settled into where it needs to be, and I'm doing that. Kind of slowed down at some point on the way back, so I think there's like an incline or something that threw me off. I looked down, it's like 6:20, 6:30, and I'm like, oh, let's bring this back down where we need it to be. Then I see the start, I see the finish line coming. I'm like, is it coming? I don't know, but the math is working out. So as long as I keep doing what I'm doing, this is gonna work out. And so then it did. But I tell you, it was a lot going on in my mind over that 20 minutes. But then I finish, right, and I have the thing. It's like, okay, 19:27 or whatever it ended up being. I'm like, okay, cool for that, right? But the thing is, also, I'm like, man, I got like a whole 10 miler to do, like in like half an hour. So I don't know if this was what I wanted, but is it really what I wanted? I don't know. And then past that, I'm also thinking like this actually felt fairly easy while I was out there, just kind of gliding along. Why did it take me so long to break through this 20 barrier then? Like, what's that all about, Tristan? Maybe you should get that figured out too. But at the same time, there's a whole other thing, right? Because on my way up to this event, I was on the train and I bought those green Mega Blasts that are coming up, and I'm like, yeah, that'll be great because those things work out great. And I was like, wait, I've only worn those like run clubs and to like pace people. Like I've never actually really run in them for myself. So I'm like, let me make sure. So that was another thing going into that day. I'm like, let me make sure these Mega Blasts do perform where I've been like thinking they do, and they totally did, by the way. So yeah, that worked out pretty well too. But yeah, all in all, like over the course of that 19 minutes and 40 something seconds, there was a lot going on up here, dude. But hey, it all played out all right. Okay, and still Saturday morning because, still doing the Rocky Run thing, just now onto the 10 miler, right? And so going into that, like originally I was thinking, okay, yeah, like if I do sevens, that should be easy enough, right? It's only 10 miles. And then I'll have like a new personal best, and yay me, right? If I do this right, I'll get a best on the 5 and a best on the 10, and it'll be an all right day. But then going into this, I'm thinking like, because after all I'd gone through for that 5K, I'm like, well, as long as I'm under 7:10, right? Like we can do 7:05, 7:10, right? Yeah, no problem. Give me a little extra to work with. And then I'm going through, and I'm holding that pretty steady. I heard the Garmin lady just like, first lap 7:05, second lap 7:05, third lap 7:05, something like that, right? Very consistent. Some dude afterwards, like he'd been running near me, and it's like, dude, you're like a metronome out there. It's crazy. I'm like, thanks, dude. And it's so then moving on, right? I'm going, and you get to like just past mile 5, and that's when you see like Mountain Drago because you're passing it. It's over here, and I'm like, oh, that looks like that is something serious. And so like now I'm just going to like the turnaround point and coming back. I'm like, oh, Tristan, like we might be in for a problem because like obviously I don't really do any hill work because there aren't really so many hills around here to work with, and I'm not going out of my way to get to the ones that are around here. I just don't do it. But then I come back, I get to the hill, and I'm like, all right, here we go. And it felt like I was just going straight up, and I'm like, this sucks so freaking much. And I don't know if it's because I had the segment saved on Strava or what, but like I looked down at my watch to see like how things were looking as far as pace and stuff, and all it was showing me was my little progress bar along that piece of it, that route, that segment. And so it's just like me slowly trotting along to this finish line, this ominous end that I don't know where it's going to be because I'm looking up here and like I see the hill and people are just like disappearing around corners, and like I never know where they're gonna be. I'm like, so I get up here, then there's more hill, then there's more hill. I'm like, this is freaking dumb. And I never completely recovered from that. I will tell you that, right? Because after that, like the paces were not so great anymore. Even with like trying to make it up on part of that decline, because you didn't seem like you got as much decline as you got incline. And I'm like, I don't know science like that, but I mean, I feel like that's not fair, right? You know what I'm saying? But either way, I get down there and I finish out things, and like it was a pretty rough one, right? I'm not gonna lie, but it still kept it decent enough to still like pull off like in the upper range, so it's one of my personal bests, plural, but not like the number one that I was going for. So I'll have to deal with that some other time. But all in all, I did get like, I got all these medals and stuff, and boy, did I earn them. Yeah, check that out. You jealous? Yeah, of course you freaking are.